What's going on, Commanders fans? So, I made a video about running back Donovan Edwards the other day, but you guys know I like to take some of these signings that the Commanders make into deeper depth. So, we're going to talk about running back Donovan Edwards, a Michigan, I would call, legend. We're going to talk about him today. We're going to dive into him, what he can be for this team. The Commanders signed him to the practice squad the other day, and he's a very interesting signing. So, we're going to get into him, but before we do, make sure you guys hit the like button. Hit that subscribe button on the road to 3,000 subscribers. That would be greatly appreciated if you hit the subscribe button. So, let's get into Donovan Edwards, man. Michigan legend, I would call him. He was a really good running back at Michigan. However, he did not stamp his name as the lead back at Michigan ever in his career. But I think this just shows the nature of how hard the NFL is, because Donovan Edwards was a really great back at Michigan, and he was a 7th round pick going in the NFL. He came over from the Jets. The dude is, he's 5'11", 205 pounds, and obviously from Michigan. Now, his 40-yard dash was a 4.4, which is great for a 7th round pick. 10-yard split, 1.5. Vertical jump, 38.5, and his bench press was 23 reps. So, he's a well-built runner, and he has good size to him. He has a good frame on him. He gets what is blocked for him, but he lacks creativity and play traits to find pro yardage and on a consistent basis. Like, he does it sometimes, but not on a consistent basis. He won't wiggle his way around tacklers, but puts in an honest effort on each snap and falls forward for additional yardage. He's one of those tough backs. He's one of those backs when he looks like he stopped 2 yards before the line of scrimmage, like, he'll get those 2 yards back and at least get back to the line of scrimmage. He's an adequate pass catcher, okay? His protection improved greatly in 2024. He became a great pass protector in the pass game last year. That's one of the things he was really good at. He has toughness. Like, he's a really tough back. That's also something I admire about him. But I think the Commanders may have a secret weapon in Donovan Edwards. So, let's get into some of his strengths. By the way, this is on NFL.com. This is Donovan Edwards' draft profile on NFL.com. I'm going to read them off to you, some of his strengths. This was coming out of the draft. Pro frame with tapered upper half and broad base. Times up burst to cut off lead blockers' hips on contact. Runs stay on track, and he rarely bounces unnecessarily. He drops his pads and finishes with good forward lean. I said he's a really tough back. He runs really well, which I also think can make him a lethal force, He showed vast improvement technically in protection, which I already talked about earlier. He's a productive out of the backfield with a wheel route ability deep. One of the things they like to do with him is run a wheel route. I don't know if the Commanders will do that or not, but that's one of the things that he can do. And he's willing to play through pain and gut it out when needed. So, again, one of those tough dudes that can really fight through something. But his weaknesses are failed to stamp himself as the lead back at Michigan, which, again, I talked about earlier. It's not a great sign, but maybe he's different in the NFL. I don't know. Because Michigan's always going to have good running backs there, right? His longer processing leads to muddier run lanes inside. Interior runs lack vision and feel for lane development. He's a below-average accelerator to outrun pursuit to the edge, so he's not really going to beat you out on the edge. And that's one of the things, like, he's not the fastest guy in the world. He is fast, but he's not the fastest running back you could have. And he has just average creativity, dulled by below average cut quickness. So, yeah, again, he's not that shifty, and he's not going to beat you off the edge, but he's a very physical running back. One of the guys that he reminds me of is honestly an Austin Eckler. He can catch it out of the backfield. He can run with force. He's one of those guys that if he is stopped 3 yards before the line of scrimmage, he's going to fight and get those 3 yards and get at least back to the line of scrimmage. Like, he's a fighter. He's a dog. I'm so glad the Commanders signed him to the practice squad because we cut Kaz Allen. It seemed like for forever we had Kaz Allen on the practice squad, and even Adam Peters decided to keep him around last year. He was on the practice squad. He once again contended this year, was on the practice squad last year, and then he came in this year trying to make the roster, didn't make the roster once again. They released him for good. Kaz Allen is gone for good. We didn't have a single running back on the practice squad. Not a single running back on the practice squad. So you bring a 7th round pick, Donovan Edwards, in here, who was a great Michigan running back. You give him a chance. You see what he can do. So I'm very happy that they did this. And we lack depth at the running back position. So I'm glad they brought him in. And Demetric Felton, I think Felton's on the practice squad, but I have to double check that. No. Felton's not on the practice squad because I said we didn't have a single running back on the practice squad. So, no, he's not on the practice squad because I already looked over that. No, he's not. So, there's one running back on the practice squad. It's Donovan Edwards, a 7th round pick there's no risk there. You don't have to pay him anything. And so, I'm excited about this move. I really do like this move. He's a guy, he came from the Jets, and he's not going to get any action this year. Okay, he's not going to be some guy that's like Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt and come out of nowhere and do something. He's probably not going to get a chance this year. But he had 89 yards last year for the Jets. He had 26 carries for the Jets. He had 1 touchdown for the Jets as well. He had 3.4 yards on average. But he's a young player. And again, let me check his age. Yeah, he's 22 years old. So maybe he can develop into something. Like, what if we look 2 to 3 years down the road? You could see Donovan Edwards there on the roster. And that would take great strides of improvement, but we'll see what he can do. I mean, he's an elusive runner. He's a really good runner. He's physical. He's tough. He can be a special teams guy. Like, one of the reasons that B-Rob was shipped away from the Commanders is because his running wasn't great, but he wasn't a special teams guy. Donovan Edwards can be a special teams guy, and he can really, even if, say, next year is the first year you want to have him on the 53-man roster, which I highly doubt that comes true, he could just be a special teams piece, and he could be a good returner. So I think the Commanders have a secret weapon on their hands. Whether this is a weapon that makes the 53-man roster, I know this weapon is going to go around the league, though. I know some other team, if the Commanders don't like what they see, is going to scoop him up because he's a valuable piece to have. But, again, a 7th round pick, which kind of sucked. And he didn't get much run last year. That was the one thing. Again, I said 90 yards last year, so nothing great there. But you give him a chance on this practice squad, and you watch and you see what he can do. You sit him behind guys like Eckler. You sit him behind C-Rod. Like, C-Rod's a guy that's been cut. He's had to sign the rights tender this offseason. You place him behind really solid guys that have done it in this league before. You place him behind Austin Eckler, I think that's the most valuable piece you could ever place him behind. He plays like Eckler. He catches out of the backfield. He can block really well. He's a really physical runner. He's really tough. He's dealt with injuries like Eckler has. There's a lot of growth to be had, and I think with a little bit of seasoning, I think Donovan Edwards could be a weapon for the Commanders in the future. Let me know what you think down below, but I just wanted to talk about this new signing that the Commanders have made. Right now, he's only on the practice squad again, but that's going to, you're going to see him a lot this year through the practices. He's on the practice squad. He's a big contributor in practice. Now, eventually, we hope he can make it on the 53-man roster, but I just like the spice. I said earlier this week, there was no spice on this practice squad. There was no spice at all on this practice squad, and now you add a little bit of spice. Ja'Cory Brooks has spice, but Donovan Edwards, a 7th round pick, he was a great running back at Michigan. That is the piece that adds spice. And then, not to mention, you didn't have a running back on the practice squad before Donovan Edwards. So, you had to add a guy there. So, we'll see what he can do. He's not a wide receiver on the practice squad catching footballs from Sam Hartman. So, we're going to get to evaluate him really well. Okay, so that's what I'm excited about. And we're going to have to watch what he does on this Commanders practice squad. But for right now, that's all that he is. And he's 22 years old. I mean, that's and he already has a season under his belt of being a NFL player. He played with the Jets. So 22 years old is one of the biggest things as well that I'm just excited. Maybe he could grow into something. Maybe he could be a guy in the future that grows into something. But we'll have to end up seeing what happens with him. Commander signed a cornerback with Donovan Edwards, but we don't need to talk about him. we'll see. But I love this Edwards signing. That's all I got for right now. Michigan legend is a Washington Commander. I think he can be a secret weapon in the future. Hails to the Washington Commanders, as always. Most likely we'll have a video out tomorrow. I don't know about Sunday. Probably we'll have a video out on Sunday. But either way, I'll catch you guys this weekend. So, you guys have a good one. Hails to the Washington Commanders, as always. And peace.